Hey everyone, welcome to the third episode of Shadowcast. I'm Szerro, and with me I have Sizouney and Tejjy.
Hey guys.
Hey.
It's Wednesday the 19th tonight when we're recording, and it's gonna be a cool week. We the other day, Cygames just announced that there's gonna be some nerfs coming along.
Finally.
How do you guys feel about that?
I mean,
mean-
finally, right?
I think
They did mention they were gonna nerf not only a legendary but S plural.
yeah,
I mean, we've all done the grind to 10,000 master points. Blood is
With
cancer.
spawn blood.
Everyone knows it.
it's just
We all know it.
just blood is just that much better right now than everything.
I mean, it has to be nerfed. Now, we can talk a little bit about what blood cards need to be nerfed, but the real question is, does anything else need to be nerfed? In the absence of blood, what's going to be strong?
Mr.
I
Neutral
think we can all agree that Mr. Tove or Miss Alice,
Miss Alice?
Ms. Alice or Mr. Tove, they're hitting it somewhere.
I want to see that Alice nerf. I'm really
You wanna see that
hoping
also?
I'm really hoping Alice just gets smashed with a hammer like.
If you remove Blood's tool in Tove, in Spawn, in Baphomet, you're just gonna look at Alice package in any other deck.
Yeah, I just don't want to
Yeah.
see that package anymore. I've played against it too many times in the past 2 weeks.
And you can put that in every single deck and it's going to be strong.
Well, honestly, I
It's
think
strongest in Blood.
I think the extent of the nerfs will probably demonstrate the direction Cygames wants to go moving forward with these nerfs and the next patch. Like if they just nerf this into the ground, then they're saying, all right, neutral craft was a mistake. Let's move on. But if they just give it a little slap on the wrist, just try to make it tier 1, but not quite so overbearing.
Bad
Then-
neutral.
Maybe
And it's
they're saying, all right, neutral craft. We don't think it was a mistake.
But then it's like next expansion, you gotta give every single craft cards that are so good that they're gonna be relevant again. You know,
What I'm
like
hoping.
any craft you do not give very strong cards next expansion, are just gonna stick with neutral craft, or they're
Or
gonna have
Ramp
to
Dragon.
consistently update neutral craft.
Or ramp dragon.
Or Ramp Dragon. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that they're definitely gonna hit it reasonably hard. That'd be my opinion. I think it's way out of line. Neutral, especially if they hit neutral, it hits everything across the board. So, I expect they'll give blood a little extra tap though. They're gonna hit something in blood.
Yeah, blood is. Everyone knows that blood is just an issue right now. Like especially at like the high ranks. What is it? It's like over 50% of the games at like master rank and higher are just blood matchups.
Yep.
It's actually
Pretty crazy.
It's actually disgusting. There are 7 classes in the game, and one of them has 50%.
I don't even think it's a matter of like what's strong at that point. I think it's a matter of what's enjoyable to play against. Like, how do we make this game fun for the player base?
Yeah, and just dropping Goblin Leader or watching someone drop Goblin Leader and praying they don't have Alice is not fun for anyone.
What I'm hoping just happens is that with these nerfs, they're able to go back to how fast the game used to be. I know Shadowverse has always been fast, but the past 2 expansions, the game sped up by a turn each expansion. And I would like the game to slow back down a little bit. I'd like to get to turn 10, 11, 12 a little bit more consistently than we do.
Well,
Last expansion, we were whining about like, oh, you're playing in Shadow. They're just gonna out Prince of Catacombs. You're only gonna get to turn 6 at best, if like.
and
Yeah,
then if it
they're
gets to
combo.
7, they'll just drop Eek.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're looking at turn 4 of the game is pretty much over. You know, top left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I never used to have to concede on turn 3. I mean, that's you would never I mean, maybe double Shadow Reaper on turn 4 some games would be enough.
Last week I was playing the Blood Mirror and I was going second. My opponent went turn 1 Goblin, turn 2 drop, turn 3 drop, and I missed my 1 and 2. And before it even made it back to my turn, I just conceded.
Yeah.
It's crazy how just that fast into the game, it's over.
I mean, like
this thing
has
is
shown
true.
willingness to do this before. Like they have gone, like they have the whole TOS nerf was kind of a a proof to the fact that they are going out of their way to, make the game more enjoyable.
By TOS, you mean test of strength?
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. Like, they are not only focused on the game in a competitive manner, so I would not be surprised to see, like, nerfs just because people think it's stupid.
Well, I also heard that test of strength was actually just like dominating like C rank.
Yeah, but exactly, because C rank thought it was stupid.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I'd say that. I'm sure some listeners would disagree with you.
Look, if you're hard stuck in C rank, then I don't know what to say. B rank, maybe I can understand.
Come on, don't bully him.
Don't bully. All right,
So
fair enough.
So let's talk about some of the cards that we think might get nerfed. So we already talked about Alice, right? We all think Alice might get some sort of nerf.
Yes.
What do you guys hoping they do with her?
Just hope they remove her.
Just take her away from the game.
Just get out. Give everybody their 10.5k vials back.
Oh, I'd be so happy.
Just call it a day.
I'd be so happy if that's what they
Just
do.
got rid of her.
Just remove it
Give
from the card.
everybody times 3 Sears globes because like who didn't use their Sears globes in that card because it's a 3-up and everything.
Oh yeah, side games I definitely use my series moves on Alice's. Definitely. And then I dusted those Alice's, so I want to actually.
But that's the issue that I've been talking about, the whole Sears globes issue, because I've already I've been grinding for Sears globe every season. I have so many of those things. Like, if people had used their Sears globes on, say, Alice, say, Spawn, like, what is the compensation going to be? Is the increased vial cost really going to be enough?
Yeah, that's true. And the animated versions don't even vial for more when they nerf.
And then you look at like how much they sell the Sears globes for a month. How much are they selling them for? I think it equals like $100 I think, if you like do the packs to dust ratio.
Yeah. That was a little off track. I'm sorry about that. Let's go back to what are they going to nerf about Alice.
For Alice, I don't know how they're going to nerf her. They could just, I mean, it's very easy to make her garbage. Right? I think Sis is saying that earlier. Mm-hmm. It's very easy to make her garbage, right? If you just made her give everything like +1 attack, that's probably pretty garbage.
You can up her cost. You can make an Evo effect.
You can just make her 5. You can make an Evo effect. There's a lot of ways to make her just not good.
What do you guys think the real issue with the card is?
Because the real issue that is way too much tempo going further is before the Evo turn. Like, there's no time to swing the tempo with anything but just stats. And you're not going to overwhelm your opponent with stats because they have access to the exact same cards you have.
Yeah.
So unless you do removal turn 1 to 4, then you're not gonna overwhelm Alice ever.
And even if you can remove her, like I know, thinking to myself, I'd play against Blood, and they would I would like use a removal spell. I would actually think I'm behind for using a removal spell.
Right. And also because of Goblin's Leader nature of having 2 followers, there's very few spells that actually takes care of Goblin Leader turn 3 for very few classes. Like for Forest, you got Elf Twins Assault, and for Dragon, you got Dragon Use Fist, and is that it?
And
is that all?
Elf Twins Assault on a Goblin Leader just feels bad too.
I mean, it feels bad, but you're Forest. You can Forest has a very hard time with dealing with one.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, you gotta just man up and do it, you know.
Yeah, no. I mean, you still trade a 2-cost removal for a 3-cost follower. I think that's okay. But overall, the issue is classes lacked tools to deal with this before their Evo turn. Like you have Tina on 4, and that does feel good. But after the Goblin Leader has already spawned 2 goblins, you're very sad.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm thinking that the way you fix it is you just bump up her cost just so that she comes down a little bit later, so that there is a little bit more time for player 2 to react.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly understand that this is difficult to do as a large company. You have a lot of red tape to get through. Whatever. Every time you go down for maintenance, you lose some money. But I would be a much bigger proponent of doing these nerfs incrementally. You know, bump Alice up to 5, see what that does, right? And if that's not enough, keep hitting her, right? Or hit another card. Like I think that you know, I personally, I don't have a problem with neutral craft being a deck. I have a problem with how strong it is, and I think that if they just hit it a little at a time, that's probably the best way to find a good balance.
Just
I
bring
just
it.
feel like
I think it should just be brought up to par with everything else, or I guess down to par with everything else, where neutral just isn't better than the actual class cards.
you want to bring her down to a Mr. Sage Commander over here.
Oh God. Yes, I didn't say 6. I said 5.
So a card that's similar to Alice that I know Sizouney you said you think is also an issue is Actress Feria.
Yes.
You were saying that you think that should also get a nerf along with Alice?
Yeah, I think that if Alice gets a nerf, Actress is going to possess a very similar issue, only going second. And then players are not going to wind up going first. It's very strong. They're going to, like, it's the same thing going second.
Yeah, I
if
guess,
you remove all these tools to capitalize on going first, which Alice is right now, then, you know, yeah, as I said, the same thing's just going to happen. And you're going to be forced to trade over and over just to prevent Actress, only to play into their Evo, even if it's not Actress.
It's pretty feels bad. That's for sure.
And then it's like, you're not actually allowed to play an aggro deck.
I think Actress might be, I would just say move back, just bump her down to 3/3 on Evo or something.
I think bumping her to 3/3 on Evo is actually pretty reasonable, because she gives so many stats to everything else.
I mean, it's like, you look at Dwarf Alchemist, I would easily compare her to Dwarf Alchemist, which I think is very reasonable to have as a 3/3.
Yeah. I think that's what I'll actually be the nerf I expect to see from side games if they decide to nerf Feria.
But the issue is, like, are we still going to see this amount of neutral cards? Is Actress actually going to have an impact if Alice is gone? Are people still going to play Goblin Leader in every single deck?
See, I think if you hit both Alice and Actress, you just kill neutral craft.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I feel like they can't.
Yeah.
I guess they can, but I feel like they won't hit both of them.
But that's like back to what we talked about. Like, what direction do you want to go in?
Well, I see Actress as like more of like a neutral craft version of Lyriel, where Lyriel is neutral anyway, but she's made for that specific archetype where Lyriel fits into a whole lot of things. I consider them at like similar power levels, the two cards. And I don't think Lyriel is broken, so I don't really think Actress is broken. I think Actress is just like a solid value 2/2, and we see Shadowverse has so many strong 2/2s like Soul Squasher and stuff.
Are you kidding me? In the neutral slot, you compare that to like Unica, to like Sector. There's a pretty clear difference.
Yeah, but you wouldn't play Feria.
I don't know what you mean by value 2/2s in Shadowverse. What other value 2/2s are there?
Well, Lyriel, Unica, like the ones you just said.
Literally Lyriel.
Lyriel,
Unica's
Soul
okay.
Squasher.
But people don't really play Unica that much.
Tweedledee and Tweedledum, man.
Alright, you got me.
Alright, so let's talk about Fighter.
About who?
Fighter?
Fighter.
Oh yeah, Fighter. Yeah, that's
yeah.
just like the vanilla 2/2, right?
Yeah.
Most broken card in the game.
What about Minotaur? I
Oh
think
my goodness.
Minotaur might need a nerf. 2/1 taunt.
Minotaur.
2/1 ward.
OP. So good.
Side games, please. So.
Alright.
You guys have anything else you want to say?
Feria and Alice, I think, are definitely the two targets for neutral craft.
I think at least one of them gets
hit. Blood here.
Blood. Mr. Tove.
Mr.
Tove. Maybe a little strong.
So Mr. Tove is a strong card, but if we touch, like, let alone Alice, is neutral still going to be as relevant? Are you actually going to want to run that in a blood deck?
Are you kidding me? If they bump Alice up to 5, I would still run that 100%.
If you have like 15 neutrals in your deck, or just if you just make it so that all your 3-drops are neutrals,
Your
you have a couple 2-drop neutrals.
Your 1, 2, 3 Tove curve is still degenerate, and in Bloodcraft you still have Big Knuckle for 4.
But the issue is, like, there's so many stronger 3-drops in Blood. Like, I was talking to my friend about this earlier today.
Stronger than Tove?
No, not than Tove. Stronger than stronger than 3-drops in general, or the neutral 3-drops. Goblin Leader, Angel of the Word, Grimnir.
Well, in my opinion, if sorry, the thing is, like, Alice and Tove. So I think that a lot of the design decision behind Alice and Tove came from the fact that everyone was complaining so much about Grimnir last expansion. It's so broken. Like, you can't do anything against it on 3. And then boom, Alice, like Goblin Leader into Alice, Tove by himself. Both of those clean up Grimnir so well, right?
Grimnir is a completely reasonable card at this point.
Well, only because he gets hard countered by
broken
power creep cards.
Cutting in a lot of lists. This card is not sufficient as a 3-drop. He's actually bad. Like, what?
And people were complaining about him so much last expansion.
Well, he was broken.
The most overpowered card is actually bad this expansion. Go figure.
Well, I wouldn't say he's bad, but...
Oh, no, I'm not.
Definitely the broken card that he was. And I think a lot of that's because of these degenerate curves, Bloodcraft, and...
If you click on Grimnir, he has neutral craft, that means he's OP.
And also, like, with this expansion, the format sped up, and that made it so that getting to turn 10 is just less common.
Well, it's not even that. I think that, like, Grimnir on 10 is... I don't know. I love Dragoncraft, so Grimnir on 10's fine. It's not broken. Ha ha ha.
No, I still think a Grimnir on 10 is fine, because, like, it's what brought us out of the grinder control meta.
Yeah, Grimnir on 3 is what people were complaining about. The fact that an aggro deck would be running a card with an enhanced 10. Just because its base stat line is, like, better than anything in their class.
That makes sense.
But, so, yeah, I don't know. If they nerf Tove and they nerf Alice, maybe Grimnir becomes obnoxiously good again.
But do you... so, back to the original point, do you think they're going to be nerfing Tove? Like,
I think they should.
I think it should maybe remove his rush, so he's a very strong 2-drop, but that's it. Or either like go in the other direction and
give him Storm.
Like remove maybe remove his HP stat a little bit, like make him similar to Boy Who Cried Wolf, or like Serpent Charmer, and so he'll be a weaker 2-drop, but stronger later in the game because he has rush.
What does Serpent Charmer do?
I think it's 3/2 that deals some damage to you. I think another option is to make him so that you have to, like, you can only like make him more like Rapunzel, where you have to keep playing neutrals every turn to get his effect.
I love Rapunzel.
Oh, that hurts. That makes it so that he's pretty difficult to keep online. I'm of the... I don't think that Tove is that much of an issue. I think Tove is really strong. I love, like, powerful 2-drops that, like,
I think
push you in a direction to build your deck.
They should change the color of his border just a little bit.
I think he is a little
not
bit
a bronze card.
He's definitely not a bronze rarity card.
That card is like a gold, maybe a legendary.
It definitely feels like a gold to me.
I also think that you really should not be, like... I think it's a mistake to make true drops super powerful. Like, 2-drop is really pushing it. I mean, there's a reason there are no, like, 1-drop legendaries. You don't want, like, turn 1, you should not be able to have a huge impact on the game. Turn 2, debatable whether you should be able to... Like, Tove is a huge impact on the game on turn 2. You're getting 2-for-1 value most of the time on turn 2 with Tove. And just from there, like, you're already a card up from turn 2.
But he still gets hit by black in Scripture.
Where do you want to push the game? Like, what do you want to change about the game? Like, do you want to change how the mid game goes, or do you want to change how... I mean, we're looking at Snow White. Let's just imagine that we're looking at Fairy Dragon, and now Tove. The 3 legendary 2-drops this expansion.
Yeah. You look at Fairy Dragon and then you look at Tove.
Hey, come on. I said we're not looking at Fairy Dragon, we keep... He has a nice emblem.
I was so excited for Fairy Dragon this expansion, and man, that card did...
Here we go.
That card did nothing. That card just gets destroyed by Tove.
That card blows. Feels bad, man.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day. So what about what other cards do you think that might hit from Blood? I don't think if they hit from Blood, I don't think it's gonna be Tove personally. I think
Baphomet.
I think that's the card that makes the most sense to get hit out of Blood is Baphomet.
I don't think they're gonna like they did say they're gonna nerf legendaries, and like initially you would think that Alice and Spawn are the top 2 contenders easily. I don't think that Spawn is actually deserving of a nerf. I think that the deck that Spawn is in is deserving of a nerf.
Yeah, you're probably right. Baphomet probably could use a little love tap. It's just that Phantom Cat also feels so strong, and nerfing Baphomet does nothing to that deck.
No, I think that's where the neutral package has to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, for that to be as aggressive as it is. Like, I mean, Phantom Cat is kind of the same as Vengeance Blood in a sense, only the fact that you don't have to go to 10 HP. Like,
yeah.
Like, I mean, you're going to get a Dark General in the face. That's, like, the non-roulette Phantom Cat, right?
Yeah, and that card just, like, it goes through wards, too, which Dark General didn't.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think if the neutral package gets a hit, we will automatically see that deck not be as dominant, but probably still strong.
You're right. If they hit the neutral package and they hit Baphomet, I think Blood will be in a much more reasonable spot.
And I don't like we can look at a Spawn and say that this guy is ridiculous, but he's ridiculous because he's coming out on 6, where you can't deal with him.
And you're also under pressure the entire time he's coming out.
Exactly.
No,
like,
if Spawn comes out on 8, like if I'm playing Dragoncraft, I don't care. I'll play Bahamut. There's no way I don't have something online to deal with him on 8.
And like you're throwing all your resources into this stupid Alice board that you already cannot deal with because it's too strong. And then Spawn comes for 16 to face. Okay, what did I do wrong?
And then sometimes the Spawn doesn't even have to stay stealth. It just gets to hit you for 8 when they just play it on 6 and it's just like the game is over.
Yeah.
But like wait until turn 8, give people some answer, like give them some time to draw their Pixie Mischief, their Homecomings, their Mutagenic Bolt, their like it doesn't even matter.
That's the thing, like a lot of decks have answers to Spawn, they just don't have the time to play them.
Yeah.
So the question that I have is, if Spawn goes to 8, does that deck become garbage?
No, they just start playing Demon Key.
No.
Dude, I lost that like day
happening.
1 of the expansion. Some guy played turn 1 Bloodfed Flower Bed, and then he played turn 2 or 3 the Demon Key, and he had the Spawn out so fast. And this,
I mean, if they manage to successfully, that's wild.
I think that if we have Spawn come out on 8 almost unconditionally, 2 different decks. We're either looking at a control deck with Spawn as a win condition similar to Assassin.
That's what I'm more excited about.
That's what I'm excited for as well.
Yeah.
Or we're looking
I hope they make
at
that
another
good.
deck that's called Snakes.
I hope Snakes
Snake.
becomes a deck. I want Spawn to
I
leave
think
and
we're
Snakes
looking
becomes the
at
deck.
Spawn to become like the updated Snakes.
Oh, I don't
The
want
updated
that.
Snake.
Yeah, right?
I want Snakes to be the updated Snakes.
Nah, man.
Because like either he's turning into a control deck or he's turning into a combo deck. I don't think he's not going to see play in a mid-range deck. Like that's what we got Phantom Cat.
He shouldn't be able to see play in a mid-range deck. Let's be real.
And like that's what he's doing now.
Yeah.
Like this deck is aggro and mid-range.
And also, just if they're playing Phantom Cats, they could also just out control you too sometimes.
It's like
They just occasionally get to outcard you.
the value mid-range we're seeing out of Shadow.
So right now, that's basically what the deck has become, just aggro mid-range control grind.
Right.
So,
Szerro, you had another card that you're interested in seeing in the whole nerf spectrum.
I don't think this card is going to get nerfed. I would actually be shocked if they nerf it. But a card that I want to see get hit is Wizardess of Oz. Because, to me, that card feels a lot like Yogg-Saron from Hearthstone. Which was, my opponent would play Yogg-Saron, or, in this case, my opponent would play Wizardess of Oz. And I just put my phone down, or I just walk away from my computer, and I come back 30 seconds later, and I think to myself, I wonder if there's going to be a game when I get back to that screen.
Yeah.
And there's no way to know, and there's no playing around it, because you can try to aggro them down, and then maybe they hit their Mutagenic Bolt, and then you lose. Or you can try to not play into their Mutagenic Bolt, and maybe they hit a Dance of Death. And there's just so little play around you can do, and the person playing the Wizardess of Oz isn't like, oh yeah, I outskilled my opponent. He's like, I really hope I hit the card I'm looking for. What I would like Wizardess of Oz to do, it would actually be really neat in my opinion, is if Wizardess of Oz's effect was, you just tutor any card you're looking for, or just, it tutors the most expensive spell in your deck and just cuts the cost on it a bit. Doesn't have to make it free, Doesn't have to make it 1 mana. Maybe it cuts the cost by 5 points, by 4 mana points, something like that. But just to make it so that it is just a good value for 5, which it already is. And then
You just want to remove the random effect.
yeah, that's what I want. I don't like losing.
I'm always down for less RNG in the game. Yeah.
It's a feels bad because card games already have they're random by nature, and when you add more randomness to your randomness, it becomes too random.
Definitely.
And I think like we already have very few random effects, but in exchange, very powerful random effects. Like you look at Forest that has May, 1-drop that trades into a 2-drop, Pixie Mischief that is actually very strong. And there are ways to manipulate these cards to
Lurching Corpse.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. There are ways to manipulate these cards to make them like non-random, and you don't have that with us.
No, you don't. It's just, and it even feels bad for the person.
You can play only the card, only the spells you have in your hand, and that's like the feels bad play for an Oz player.
It even feels bad like playing Oz yourself, and like you play it on turn 7, right? And then on an empty hand, and all you hit is spells. So now you can't even cast the spells, and then the Oz dies, and you just don't have a hand, and it just feels awful. So I don't think the card is necessarily. I don't think it's too powerful. That's not what I'm saying. I just think it's.
You just think it's a bad design.
Yeah, I think it's bad design, and I would like to see them nip that in the butt, unlike what Hearthstone did.
Yeah, I feel you. You know, I want to bring up a card. Honestly, I didn't really want to talk about this. I'm hoping that Side Games isn't listening to this, but I just hope they don't hit Sybil. And I think there's a chance they might.
I think Sybil definitely might get hit, dude.
Sybil's broken. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But I'm just, as a Dragon man, I'm praying that doesn't happen. Praying that our Lord and Savior Sybil will remain untouched, will remain pure for us.
As a big fan of Dragon myself, I actually would not mind a Sybil hit as long as they give us more ramp in the future patches and the future expansions. Because the thing with Sybil is she's so powerful they can't make much more ramp.
Yeah, they didn't give us anything this expansion, and look, Dragon's already still good. So, the thing is, like, if they hit Blood, right? And I think the next card that we're going to talk about is Aegis, so I'm going to jump the gun a little bit here. If they hit Blood, and if they were to hit Aegis, I think Dragon would be hands down the best deck in the game. And I think that it would have very few counters. Like, basically, there's some value shadow lists that it can struggle with dealing with. Maybe it still struggles a little bit with Aegis, but honestly, you can tech for that with Polyphonic Roar.
I think it would struggle with like the super fast forest lists.
Yeah, that's probably true. But even then, I mean, depending if you hit your ramp, you're gonna win that anyway.
Yeah.
If you hit your ramp and get Zeus, you're gonna win.
Yeah, they can't Forest can't deal with Zeus.
You can't play against everything, right?
Yeah, you can't win against everything, but Dragon feels like it would. I would no longer feel like there are many matchups that I'm like, wow, I don't want to take Dragon into.
No, I think you're right. I think Dragon would just like when it loses Aegis as an enemy, if it were to lose Aegis.
Yeah. Aegis is a really big deck for a Dragon right now.
Yeah.
But speaking of OP classes in the past expansion, and speaking of Aegis is such a boring card.
Yeah.
And we look at the Aegis deck now, and how much change has it seen from last expansion? Almost none.
Well, I mean, Snow White and March Hare.
Yeah, there you go. You add in the two most powerful cards.
Yeah, you add in the best cards Haven got. Yeah. Taking out some garbage cards.
And since they're playing Tea Time now, they're also playing Garuda a little bit more.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
But I mean, you already got flexible 6 slots before, so I don't think you remove the Dark John.
You just slotted out Dark John for Garuda, yeah.
It's not even like it's as a major change in any sense. It's just like a stylistic change.
Slotted out that healing guy for March Hare.
I've been playing a lot of Aegis the past day or two as well. And it doesn't even on turn 9, it feels really good on turn 9 when you have the Evo, but if you don't have an Evo, Aegis feels really bad to play as a win condition. Because you play it and you're just like, I'm going to die because I played my win condition.
Yep.
I just feel like is this the direction that side games want Haven to go to? Like, do they want every single deck to be Aegis? So you're like, there are 3 like dominant Haven archetypes at the moment called Seraph, Alana, and just pure Aegis.
And
We also got Storm, but
I don't know if I would call Alana dominant.
I would say
no,
Storm is
I
more
wouldn't call it
than
dominant, but
Alana's.
like as like decks that are famous Haven.
See him play, yeah.
Yeah. There are no, actually you're right. There is Storm because of Lion.
What about
Yeah.
Oh, what's that list called? OTK Kel, isn't that like top tier?
Yeah. Okay. Now when you but I think that every single deck in the future, do you really want that to include Aegis just because it's like it's such a boring card, and for that reason it needs to be in Haven? Like what?
Aegis was really exhilarating to play like the first week it came out. Like
Oh,
every
definitely.
time I played that card, I felt really good about myself, pat myself on the back, you know. Like it was just satisfying. But now after so many months, the novelty is kind of worn off a little bit, and it just becomes like in the Aegis mirrors, it's like whoever plays the first Aegis is significantly ahead of the other player, and there's no counterplay to it. Is the biggest issue.
Mr. Auto Aim brought something to my attention the other day
Mhm.
in the fact that a Haven list only has 7 interchangeable cards. Like the other 33 cards are going to be 100% auto includes in every single Haven deck or every single Aegis deck.
Yeah.
I just think that is so boring. And I mean, you can look at all the neutral craft decks at the moment and say the exact same thing about them. And I mean, obviously that's because they're broken. But this is a deck that was dominant in the previous expansion, and it's now carried over to the next expansion with very few changes. And what?
Yeah.
So instead of just talking about over and over again how we think Aegis is dominant, what do you think we should change? What do you think should be changed about Aegis?
Do power creep him.
Power creep and make him 6
Power
mana,
creep
6 mana, 8/8.
No, wait. We already got divine armor. We don't.
Look, I don't think I mean personally, I think they never should have printed Aegis. I think that was a
Aegis is
mistake.
way too boring.
It's uninteractive. It doesn't promote like healthy gameplay experience, and I mean it's just a nonsense card.
But on the other hand, isn't it kind of what Haven needed? Because like your alternative is what, Seraph or Tejjy and Sizouney?
That's the thing, is they need some form of like win condition, some form of way to
I
end
just
the
think
game.
it was the wrong one.
Yeah,
Like-
it was the wrong one.
I mean, it's so hypocritical to sit here and say I want something else, just not this. But honestly, that's
It's
the
true.
position
It's
I'm in.
exactly what I want, though. I just want literally anything else.
So if you were to change Aegis, I mean, at least me personally, if I were to change Aegis, what I would like to see is I would like to see the card be brought in line with something like Beauty and the Beast, where you see Beauty and the Beast is insane. It's basically Aegis, but you can banish it. I would just like to see some form of way to get Aegis off the board.
Huh.
We just need cards that can deal with, like, cards that can actually interact with Aegis. That's all we need.
And the card
Yeah,
just
and
says
give them the dragon.
can't be interacted with.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, Aegis does have a death quote. We've been in this situation before with cards that has a death quote but can't be removed, with ghosts in standard before Sexton was printed. So who knows?
They might be planning something. They might be planning a way to get rid of Aegis.
Rune is gonna get the 30 cost card that you can spell boost like D-Shift to get rid of Aegis. Dragon's gonna get a 10 cost, and you can play this before turn 4 and get rid of him.
Do you guys think Roach might get hit? When the Shadow Reaper nerf came down, to me that just signaled in like the back of my mind as a Forest main. I just thought, oh no, I'm next.
Yeah, I got mine there. But I think as long as Roach is not any more dominant than it is, or than it was back in ROB, it's not gonna happen. Like, Roach is so easy to hit. Like, you don't need to hit the card, and you're gonna make Force unviable if you do.
That's the
Especially
thing.
if neutral nerfs are coming.
Make it a 0/1.
Oh, that would. I mean, that's a reasonable nerf. I wouldn't be happy about it though.
I don't think that's reasonable at all.
Make it a 0/1. Do it.
But you look at the neutral forest lists, and I actually saw the one V2 brought to the Slayer Cup. It had 34 neutral cards and 6 forest cards. Guess what those forest cards were?
Roach and Guidance.
Wait, what? No.
B&B
ETA
and...
B.
He didn't even bring Roach.
Wait, no, he played
Jesus.
neutral forest. What are you talking about?
And he still didn't bring Roach?
Oh my god.
So he brought Beauty and the Beast and what?
And Elf Twins Assault.
Elf Twins, that makes sense.
That's the only 6 forest cards he had in his neutral forest deck.
Interesting.
Is forest even the right word for that anymore?
Right?
No.
Like, isn't that just a little bit sad?
Yeah.
They don't even play like Flower Princess. You would think like a neutral forest deck would want to play at least the Flower Princesses.
Nope. All those other cards are garbage. That's what I was saying.
Neutrals and Beauty and the Beast. Oh, and there's this pretty cool removal. I mean,
Yeah.
anyway, we might as well make it
Best removal in the game.
Yeah, it's the best 2-drop removal in the whole game.
If only Dragonute Fist were Elf Twins Assault. Except just unconditional.
So do you guys think anything else might get hit along with those cards? They did say that it was going to be, 5+ cards that are getting nerfed?
Alright, yeah, so we mentioned a couple cards in Blood. We mentioned like up to 5 cards in Blood and Neutral.
I think that's a pretty solid list to go from overall, honestly.
Sybil, Aegis. Honestly, I wouldn't expect anything in Forest to get hit.
No.
Yeah, I think Forest has
about
just
it.
been like, it's been so quiet, just as far as ladder goes at least, that I don't think they're planning on hitting it.
Expansion.
I feel like there's gonna be something that they're gonna surprise us somehow with the nerfs. There's gonna be something that I'm like, that's weird.
Watch,
That maybe.
They won't nerf Alice, and they'll just nerf Dark Alice, and be like, this is what you want, right, guys?
But Alice nerf, right? We got you.
What if they
Maybe
actually
there's a
just like
2-2.
buff Dark Alice into the stratosphere?
Oh yeah, they might.
Make it like a 10-10.
They actually, the tweet that they said where they were going to be making card changes didn't specifically say nerfs. It said changes. So do you think?
I think that means nerfs though. I mean, they've never buffed a card before.
But they might. I don't think they're going
Have
to.
they really not buffed a card before?
They've never buffed a card.
That's something, actually.
Yeah, that's really weird. Like, there's so many garbage legendaries, and they just don't buff them.
Honestly, speaking of Dark Alice, I think that Shadow has gotten so many super cool cards, and none of them sees play because we're Victor.
Dark Alice, Atomy,
Dude, Mr. Death
Corpse
Morose
Lord
over
of
here.
Woe.
I saw somebody play a Phantom Howl today, and then Dead Morose it afterwards, and he gained 4 HP. It was neat, but then he died to my Aegis.
Then he died to my Aegis.
But he gained 4 HP, and it was neat. And then I played Grimnir, and it didn't matter.
But I mean, good on him. Good on him. So I mean, now that we've talked about nerfs, I mean, other than that, how has everyone been doing on ladder and stuff? How have your weeks been going? Otherwise,
Dude, I hit Grandmaster, I'm off the ladder.
you haven't been playing ladder at all.
After I hit Grandmaster, I kind of dipped off the ladder for a while. I came back yesterday, made my grand return. Been dicking around with some dragon decks. Finally got one that I like. So I'm excited to bring that to the upcoming tournaments.
Yeah, I have so little motivation to play the game at the moment. It's just like, what decks do I want to bring to the tournaments?
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. Like I care about the tournaments. I'm sick of ladder. After last week, I was I had mentioned last time I had just like gotten into Faster Than Light, and a couple days after we recorded the podcast last week, I had beaten Faster Than Light, so I finally got to get back onto ladder, and I finally hit like the trials for my Grandmaster today, and I just don't want to play them.
Like, so lazy.
Like, I've seen what ladder has to bring. Like, I know what I'm gonna face if I go on ladder. I'm done. There's no top 1K rewards to go for here. Like, I'm fine with not doing anything. I'm not gonna lose anything other than like the ability to get rid of my sanity.
Yeah. Feels bad, man.
I mean, how did your climbs go overall? Because I know you guys.
Lot fatter.
Agreed.
My climb was pretty smooth, actually. I did the first 5 to 6K points with Dragon Cup. Then I switched to Bloodcraft for faster games, and because Bloodcraft is broken.
I did
And
like about.
I did. I stalled a couple of times, but it was mostly smooth sailing, and I did the last 2K points in just a couple of long win streaks.
This month I never actually had like a hardcore drop when I was ranking up. Like I always stayed I was either stagnant or
Yeah.
like I dropped 500 points at most.
Yeah.
I never had like one of those demoralizing, oh, I just lost 2,500 points today.
I don't think I've ever done that in my life.
I had like last month or 2 months ago, I dropped like 2K points in like a day just memeing with my buddy on ladder. And then after I stopped memeing, I was playing serious decks and I just kept dropping.
Oh shit. That's rough.
I was playing Vengeance Blood and I couldn't win with Vengeance Blood. I was like, oh my god, why?
Rip.
Yeah, I did my climb with I did about half of it with some combination of Dragon Forest and Aegis, and then I did like the other half with Blood. But
Right, I can't play Blood. I'm not monkey enough for it apparently.
you can't play it as in like you can't bring yourself to play it, or you just pilot it.
No,
incorrectly?
I can't win with it.
Are
Like
you
I just
How?
no, I feel like it's horrible, honestly. Like I see it played against me and I see people do well with it. But myself, like I have to play freaking OTK Roach. I have to play Snowman. I have to play Burn Room.
Wow, dude. Blood is like I think it's harder than people give it credit for. To be perfectly honest, I think there's a lot more like subtle. Like yeah, okay. Sometimes you just win the game on turn 3, but when you don't win the game on turn 3, I think there's a lot more like decision making than people give it credit for.
There's a lot of small things in that deck that you can get
Yeah.
like significantly punished for. Like
Definitely.
if you just play your Lyriel on turn 2 when you should have played your Feria, that can actually lose you the game.
Yeah, actually, it can. And a lot of just like something simple that I'll mention. A lot of people just don't tempo evo their stuff.
Yeah,
And,
that's
like, I've gotten to the point where a lot of times, like especially in the Blood Mirror, like just evo stuff on an empty board. Like, what are they gonna do?
I think on turn 4 it's like more important than ever, just because you get like the full stats in these very, very awkward cards that is very hard to remove.
Yeah.
like
I'll just a lot of times like if I have a Gruff Mountaineer, say I've got a 4/6 Gruff Mountaineer, and I need to trade it into something. And like I need to trade it into like a 5/3 or something. I'll just evo it anyway. What are they gonna do to a 6/8? A 4/6 they can clear maybe.
like
6/8? No way.
the punish to like the 4/6 to not evoing is actually disgusting, because if you don't evo
Yeah.
it and then they Scarlet Saber and their Scarlet Saber lives, you get 2 for 1. And then you
Yeah.
also have to evo something into their Saber to deal with it.
Yeah. You get 2 for 1, or they could have maybe Phantom Cat or something.
Hey, if they hit that Fanfare into a card, then you get a 3/4. It's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you need to like prepare for their swing turns.
Yeah, so you just need to know exactly what's going to be played against you. Prepare for what's going to happen. Just sometimes you need to hold cards for Hector if you're playing Hector. Just all sorts of stuff.
I want to talk about Hector for a second, actually, because Tejjy, I've seen you've been playing Hector a lot. I want to ask you why.
Dude, that card's lit. Are you 3 face damage? Are you kidding me?
Scarlet Saber is always 2 face damage, and it heals
Scarlet
you too.
Saber's 2 face damage. That's 1 less face damage.
Yeah, but it always heals
Do
you
I
too.
need to say more?
It always heals you, and it's got Death Touch.
Dude, healing is garbage. Are you kidding me? This is aggro. Healing's garbage.
Is healing garbage? Like, it can get
Healing
you
is a worthless stat.
in.
Health is a resource.
We're playing like in a completely aggressive meta, and you're thinking healing is garbage?
Yeah, I think healing is. Yeah, I think healing is garbage in the mirror. Are you kidding me?
I think healing like means a lot in the mirror.
No, never.
Huh?
I vehemently disagree. I mean, I think Scarlet Saber is a good card, but I don't think it's because she heals you.
I don't think it's because she heals you either, but I think the healing is like the healing is a nice
marginal.
touch.
Yeah, the healing is nice. It's not impactful.
Yeah, exactly. There's maybe like one game I've ever played where someone lived where they should have died because of Scarlet Saber.
Like Scarlet's stat line, her having Bane and her doing Fanfare damage, I think that's like what makes the card strong. Everything else is just a bonus.
Yeah.
Like her having an attack stat, like period. I feel like that's a bonus.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that the two cards are pretty interchangeable, but I like Hector basically because he's a neutral card. He does a little more damage, and he has a ward. And I mean, yeah, the death touch is nice, but you can pretty much get the same. Like you can kill most of the same stuff with just a 6 attack Evo.
I found like whenever I played Hector, so often I just wouldn't get the 3 damage off of him.
Huh?
You don't have that issue with him?
Were you playing the Razor Claws?
I was playing the list that you had sent me. So I was playing the version that I'm playing. I'm basically playing the exact same list, except instead of Hector, I'm playing your Sabers. I'm not playing the Razor Claws right now. And yeah, that's basically why I had cut her, because like I had cut for the Saber, because the 3 damage on Hector is nice. Like I'm not gonna say it's not, but I'd find that I'd be using it on something with 2 HP a lot, something with 1 HP a lot, or I just wouldn't be getting it.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, after you use it on that 2 HP or 1 HP thing, it's like having the difference between having a 2/4 on board versus a 4/4 or even a 5/5 with Alice with a ward. Yeah, death touch is nice, but like, I don't know.
Hector can't kill Baphomet, man, or Bahamut, or Acerphil.
I mean, that's true, but how much dragon did you really see on your client?
Oh, very little.
Yeah.
And the ones that I did see, I probably like killed by turn 4.
Exactly. Feels bad. Garbage dragon players feeding you their Elo.
So, we got some tournaments coming up in the next week. You guys want to talk about those?
Yeah. So, you want to talk about Slayer Cup?
Dude, I'm so excited for Slayer.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yes, I think like this Slayer Cup run by this Korean dude called Slayer.
Never saw that one
like
coming.
oh wow. No, yes, Satan Slayer over the Korean. I think it's his own Discord. It is his own Discord. Yeah, he's hosting this tournament, and it's got like the tiniest prize pool that it looks huge because like 100,000 Korean won.
It's like $60.
It's like $60 exactly. But all the most competitive players are playing in this tournament, and it has one of the most interesting formats that I've ever played in.
This is the second Slayer Cup, right?
This is the third.
This is the third one, really.
There's always been 2. V2 won the last one. I don't remember who won the first one actually. Yeah.
So you were saying it had an interesting format.
Yes, the format is that you can bring three classes. You can bring any deck you want from those 3 classes. So if you want to play Daria in your first match, and when you cannot play the same, like you not change it in between like the same opponent's matches, but if you go from one player to another, you can change from Daria to Tejjy, for example.
Yeah, that is really cool.
And
so you
basically pick based off of the classes you see your opponent bringing?
Exactly. You see somebody bring Haven, Dragoncraft, and I don't even another Slowcraft. You switch over to Tejjy in that instant.
Yep.
You see somebody playing like Blood, Shadow, and Forest. You just hit that Daria.
So what I find really interesting about that format is I feel like there's gonna be so much mind games going on with that.
Right. And I think it just adds a whole new aspect. Like first, it adds a new aspect to actually say them. But other than that, I think it adds a whole new level of deck optimization.
It also just like adds a whole nother level of like, all right, so you're good with Daria, you're good with this deck, you're good with this deck, but that's not enough. You need to know how to play 10 decks well for this format. Hello?
Mr. Tejjy?
Did Tejjy cut out? I think Tejjy might have cut
out.
out.
Oh no, he muted himself. Somebody talk to him. but yeah, I completely agree with you. I think it's like it's just something that's gonna take your level as a competitive player to a whole new level.
It's gonna be like really demanding for the players. Like the players.
I don't think it's necessarily going to be like, oh, you can take this out to another tournament and like take what you have learned and apply it anywhere else. But I think it's like it's going to be a lot of knowledge you're going to take away from this.
I think you're going to see like some of the most well-versed Shadowverse players, like the ones who know how to play all of their decks really well, rather than just I specialize in these 5. You're going to see the real like the top of the line players be the ones on top in this type of format.
And I think like the fact that this thing is being held weekly as opposed to something like Inchi, this is like we talked about talking more about Slayer, or are we going to be talking more about NGE? And NGE is happening in it's happening this weekend as well, same as Slayer. But there's not been any NGE tournaments yet. There's nothing for us to talk about. Like there's no hype to be found about NGE other than last season.
And NGE was kind of nobody was all too excited about NGE in previous formats either, just because the format was kind of weird. Just like
that is true, though. They are going to have a significantly better format this time around, from what I've heard.
Yeah, here's hoping, because like last time the format was just 2-deck, no ban. So
definitely going to be 3-deck, 1-ban this time. Yeah, that's for sure.
I think it's just a dominating format overall. That's the most healthy format for tournament play. You can apply like alternative rules besides that, but I think you gotta do the 3-deck 1-ban.
You need to at least allow a single ban, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because
then it just becomes ladder.
The game's not quite well balanced enough to allow no bans.
Without a ban, your tournament just becomes ladder, is basically what happens.
And then it doesn't matter. Like, you can just work part-time job and play Shadowverse. It's gonna.
So some other events that we have that are coming up is we actually have 2 of our own events coming up. We have the HSK Team League coming up, which is it's going to be we're actually up to week 6, and there is going to be 7 total weeks. So we're coming up to the end of this, and now that's going to be on Tuesday, the 25th. And in that event right now, the standings for that, right now, us, Hallowed Sky, we're in first place. 5. We're 5-0. Second place is Shadow Nexus, 4-1. And actually, this week we're going to be playing against Shadow Nexus.
Oh yeah, that should be a lot of fun.
Wait, who does Shadow Nexus have on the roster?
I think Sleet.
I want to play against Sleet.
I don't know who else they have. Who else they've been sending?
I'm hyped to play against Sleet.
I want to play against Sleet.
Bring him on. Bring him on. I love playing against good players, man.
Yeah, Sleet's my boy. I love him.
Just put them in their place, you know.
So then in third place we got we have CPV, and they're sitting at a score of 2-3, and they've got 16 points, and then fourth place and fifth place is tied with EXG and Trials of Faith, both at 15 points, so just under CPV. And then sixth is going to be Turning Point. They're also sitting at 2-3 with 13 points. Seventh is Disastra, sitting at 1-4 with 12 points. And Mana Surge was in this event, and they were doing pretty good, and they sadly had to drop from the event.
Yeah, unfortunate. My boy Jace.
So,
I wanted more JC in the team league. Now I'm kind of sad, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
that should be a fun event. The Shadow Nexus versus HSK game should be pretty hype.
That one's gonna be streamed for sure.
I'm sad about Azelia being gone. He's not gonna be playing for Disaster, and he's the one who carried them last week.
Was Azelia the one who carried them last week?
Yes, Azelia played their sword list and their shadow list. He played his Charlotte because he does not afford Hero of Antiquity. And he won with that list. Azelia is 100% win rate currently in the team league.
Were they playing? They were playing the Hero of Antiquity Roland list.
No, I mean Azelia has his own list. I actually have it right here. I don't know how much he wants me to talk about it, but he has one Roland because he cannot afford more. He has one Cinderella for the same reason, and he has 2 Charlotte because he cannot afford Hero of Antiquity.
I actually think if you're playing a Roland deck, I think Charlotte is better than Hero of Antiquity is.
I don't agree with that.
You know,
I don't think we should get into that, but I think that it was very. I was like very surprised too because Azelia has been trying hard to get into competitive play, and to see him on the team league roster and actually pull off 2 consecutive wins, I was very happy to see that.
Yeah, I'm glad for Azelia. Good to see.
And I mean, considering it was Disastra's only win this whole team league. That was super cool.
Yeah, that's a good feeling for Azelia.
Yeah, definitely.
And
speaking of new players, should we mention our new player?
Oh, we haven't. We actually got HSK has a new member. We got he's actually not in the
Mr. Akamaru Red.
Yeah, Akamaru Red.
Yeah. Cool guy just hit Masters today, actually.
And he beat Zero's little sister.
He beat Sarah's little sister.
That
Beat
could be
me in the
interpreted-
Dragon Mirror.
That could be interpreted in a few ways.
Well, let's not go there.
So he won over Zero's little sister in a Shadowverse game, and then he just like beat Tejjy, period.
Yeah, he just beat me into the ground. I'm off the team, by the way. I don't even know why I'm here.
Everyone who's on the team has been off the team at some point.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, before you joined the team, you're off the team, so.
You know, nobody asked you, all right? It says you're off the team.
Okay. Now your statement holds true.
My guys.
Yeah, and then so we got one last event to talk about. We have the Hallowed Sky Meme League, which is gonna be on Monday, July 24th. Every 2 weeks we have this event, and we change the format every week. We let the winner of the previous week help pick the format, and this week Dominus was the one who won. And what he ended up picking was he wanted a format called Odds and Evens. And how this format
before we go into this, can I just touch on what you just said?
What did I just say?
So it's a meme league that's held every other week, right?
Yes.
But the format changes every single week?
It changes every other week.
That's impressive.
Yeah, just half the formats we don't use.
We just throw it out.
Yeah.
Who
No, I'm
needs
sorry,
it?
that's just funny.
So how this format's gonna work is for odds and evens. So all the followers you have in your deck need to have an odd attack value, and all of the spells you have need to have an even play point value. So it's gonna really limit a lot of the cards you can play. There's
that
gonna
means no Roach.
no what? No.
No Roach. You can't run Nature's Guidance.
But you can.
That's true.
Yeah, you
You
can
can run
play-
Pixie Mischief.
Oh man,
That is true.
Hard champ.
but you can't run Ancient Elf.
That's true. But
But-
you can run Roach.
But
You cannot run Fina. And no Goblin Mage.
You don't need those. Those are crutches for bad players.
And so if you have, there are some spells you're probably wondering, but what happens if my spell summons a follower? Well, if you have a spell that summons followers, it has to summon odd attack followers and cost.
Oh, that's
mana.
next level.
Yeah.
The reason we did this rule was actually we were looking at the cards and we were thinking, man, old school Shadow actually didn't get a single card hit here. and we were a little bit afraid of Death's Breath.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they got to keep Ektar, they got to keep Death's Breath, and we figured just a way to tame Death's Breath, a way to tame Shadow just a little bit was just that extra rule right there.
Yeah.
So
Fair.
yeah, that's gonna be a fun event. You can find out about that on our Discord, and I will actually leave a link to that as well in the description.
I'm sad I can't play Snowman. Both summon Snow and Ram when they're cost spells.
But they are odd attack minions. Now I know
Yeah,
you
but
still can't play them, but
I
it makes
still
you feel a
can't
little bit
play.
better.
You know, Shadow.
I'm sorry. No, you're right. I'm sorry. So I think we talked about everything we want to hit today, right? You guys have anything else you want to talk about? No?
I think I'm all good.
Yeah, we ended up talking a lot. We agreed to not hit the nerfs too much, and we just ended up blabbering on for hours.
Well, nerfs are always fun to talk about. So
I love nerfs, dude.
yeah, nerfs are basically a new expansion except slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, this has been a real fun episode to cast. I hope everyone listening enjoyed it. We'll be back next week with episode 4. This is Szerro.
This is Tejjy.
It's just nice.
And have a good week, everyone.